7 mana or more, you're getting buffed by this boar.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
This video and my channel are sponsored by Untap.gg. Looking to track your stats, get a look at the metagame, and be the best Magic Arena player you can be? Untap.gg is a plugin which can help you figure out the best way to play Magic. I use it to do, tracking of my own decks, figure out where they shine, where they struggle, and make improvements based on what I see other people playing too. If you're interested in Untap, you can find it in the description of the video. Hello everybody, and welcome to Brawl Stars. I'm Amy the Amazonian, and today I am playing Raggadragga, Goreguts Boss. This is a Baldur's Gate card, which I actually got to reveal from the set. It's one of my favorite commanders because it's very, very Gruul. Oh, it is incredibly Gruul. The main theme of this deck is to play lots of creatures that have mana abilities. I'm talking about these one-drops, classic ones like Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves. We've got some new favorites in there too, like Gilded Goose, and some graveyard hate on the Armored Scrapcorger. But really in this deck, all my creatures can tap to generate mana because we have Cryptolith. Right, this is a key card in this deck that just got added in. Raggadragga, if you can make Raggadragga tap for mana, gives itself a buff. And what is that buff? It's +2/+2. Giving your mana dorks +2/+2 means that these little weenies ain't so little anymore. This buff also applies to if you animate a creature land, like Den of the Bugbear. It gets to be very, very strong. But there's another ability here. When you attack with your creatures with mana abilities, they untap, so you can kind of get in a free swing. But the biggest one is when you cast a spell, if it costs 7 mana or more to cast, by the way, it does not care what the mana value is. It only cares about how much mana you spent. You get to untap one of your creatures and give it +7/+7. This gets to be huge on top of Raggadragga's other buff, that +2/+2, with all of the things that tap for mana based on power. Cards like Marwyn or Selvala, who doesn't check herself but checks for the largest creature you control. These two tap for so much mana in this deck, and if you give one of them or something else +7/+7, you're going to get absolutely massive. So we have a good mix of these X-cost spells and just very expensive spells that work really nicely with Raggadragga. As far as the 7 or more cost spells go, I'll say that this is something that's very dependent on who's building the deck. I chose some of my favorites like Drakaseth, Maw of Flames, because I have a lot of ways to give my creatures haste, like Rhythm of the Wild. If you're more interested in kind of control-oriented cards, you could add in, for example, Ulamog and the other Eldrazi Titans, Portal to Phyrexia. There's these very, very great high-cost cards that aren't creatures, that aren't very Gruul, but will still absolutely do the job and work incredibly well with Raggadragga. So we're going to take this boar into the queue and tap our mana dorks as 2/2s. Prosper! Tomebound. Does it exile? Does it make treasure? Then it's probably good. In Prosper, this hand, though I have a Leyline of Abundance that would come out for free, is kind of doo-doo because I only have a mountain and a goose, so I'm gonna mulligan. If I got like a forest on my first draw, that would be fine. The perfect mulligan! I have my Leyline of Abundance, so my creatures will tap for an extra bit of green. I also do have a mana-producing creature, sort of, that I can play on turn 2. Again, sort of. Actually, just kidding, Inquisition of Kozilek, no I don't. No, I don't. Alright, so I have 2 mana and nothing to do with it. Look, guys, I could finale for 0. It's great. Alright, Experimental Synthesizer. Exiled, light up the stage. They won't be able to play it, so it'll just stay in exile. They were probably hoping to hit a land there. They didn't. That's fine. Den of the Bugabug. It comes in untapped, because I played it on turn 2. I only have 1 other land, but I can't do anything with it. At least this brings me to 3 mana. You know, I might Finale of Devastation for a Llanowar Elf. Whew. God, I don't need to. I got Incubation Druid. Hi, Incubation Druid. Nice little 0/2 who taps for mana. Hi, Prosper. Prosper has Death Touch, which I, as a Gruul deck, do not like. But I do have 6 mana, and that is a thing I do like. I like it a lot. I think I'm going to tap for 2 and just go crazy with Margarine's Kindred because we have this Leyline of Abundance. Alright, so I can do this for X equals 2, which is going to get me a Marwyn and 2 Llanowar Elves. Marwyn sees the 2 Llanowar Elves and gets +2/+2. And now this taps for 2, this taps for 2, this taps for 4, this taps for 2. I am swimming in mana. They're playing a black-red deck, so they only have a few ways they could even possibly get rid of the Leyline of Abundance, but they have a lot of ways they could destroy my creatures. Oh, hi, Zorn. Zorn is going to double the amount of treasures they get when they cast from exile. That's what Prosper's doing, giving them treasures whenever they play cards from exile. Are you going to kill Marwyn? No, they're playing Nighthawk Scavengers. Gives them 2 more treasures. Now are you going to kill Marwyn? Does Marwyn get to live? That's not an instant speed kill spell. Here comes Raggadragga. Raggadraggas are going to make all these guys huge. I am going to cast Titan of Industry. Titan of Industry costs 7, which means that I can untap Marwyn and give her +7/+7. She now taps for 13 mana. I'm going to destroy an artifact and make a Rhino. I'm going to destroy this artifact, make a Rhino. Looking good. And we're going to cast another nice, chunky, funky, little happy spell. And we're going to keep making Marwyn bigger and bigger and bigger until we can Finale of Devastation, give our creatures +10/+10, and swing for lethal this turn. I knew it was going to happen. We're facing off against Atraxa, Grand Unifier. Well, Atraxa, you are a pain in my butt, but you know what I have? A turn 0 Leyline of Abundance. You might be a 7 mana 7/7 with Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink who can draw a whole lot of cards, typically like 5, a lot. But I have the Leyline of Abundance, which lets my mana-producing creatures tap for an extra green. I love that for me. Also, I get to cast this for free because I had it open my opening hand. Or I guess you don't cast it, you begin the game with it on the battlefield, which is very cool, if you ask me. Alright, besides just my only green source, we're going to play Paradise Druid. She does have hexproof, so she's a little bit harder to kill. Still definitely can take her out, especially if they have an Edict effect. They have 4 mana. Next turn I will have 5 mana. And I'm being duressed, which means I can get rid of Intervention, Electrodominance, or Lightning Bolt. You get rid of the X-cost spells, which are great for triggering Raggadragga, or the cheap, efficient removal that is Lightning Bolt. Went for Electrodominance. Okay. I will play Marwyn and Druid of the Cowl in that order because Druid of the Cowl is an elf, so Marwyn gets an extra +1/+1 counter. And she taps 4 mana equal to her power, which we can make her even bigger using a Raggadragga. Okay, Thought Erasure. There goes the Intervention. Sure. You sure are attacking my hand. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana now. Oh, hey, Galta! Lovely to see you here. Let's play Raggadragga. Go to combat. Swinging with these two. They will untap themselves. And I'll go ahead and, do I want to use this? Nah, I want to get down. I want to get it down, my Galta. Galta's here. Galta's a good dinosaur. Cavalier of Thorns. Hey, it's not a board wipe. I'll take it. They get a land. It's Command Tower. I believe that they have enough mana to play Atraxa next turn. And I'm just going to be cheeky here, and I'm going to Lightning Bolt their face. Ooh, a forest. Great. We're going to put on full control mode. And I'm going to attack with everyone. We're going to win. The reason I put on full control mode is so I could tap after they all tapped in order to use my Leyline's pump ability. Yeah, I had fun. I beat an Atraxa. Aggro rules. It's Mono Blue Blink with Thassa Deep Dwelling. I have a slightly slower hand here because I can't play Llanowar Elf on turn 1, but that's still a turn 2 Llanowar Elf. I'll take it. Sheltered Thicket always comes in tapped, so I'll throw it down here. Our opponent is going to be doing loads of blinking. During their end step, they get to flicker one of their creatures, and they can also pay 4 mana to tap things down. I have a suspicion that this deck is going to be a lot of bounce creatures, things that will bounce back into my hand, and also like a pretty good number of counter spells. I feel like that's the best way to build any kind of mono blue deck, is to supplement with a lot of counter spells, because in, there we go, 1v1, you will almost always benefit from the fact that like a 2-cost card can stop a 4-cost card. Oh, hey, Aether Channeler. Do you want to bounce? They sure do. That's fine with me. We're going to get green stuff, little dudes, Llanowar Elf, and we're gonna chill. I have my Lightning Bolt available. They play Thassa. I can actually wait until they target this. It doesn't really matter. I'll just make it so they cannot blink this. They do not have a blink target right now. Thassa, if she becomes animated, will also be indestructible. Just swinging with all of these. I have 3, 4, 5... Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana post-combat, but, like, I don't really want this until I have this. Nice. Alright, so they didn't play anything. And we're going to hope this resolves. They only have 4 mana. Just want to get that Raggadragga out so I can get in more Ragga damage. Nope, it was a wash away. Alright, Raggadragga is once again gone in the graveyard. This is fine. I am going to attack in with all of these. Pass the turn. Got 4 mana banked over here. Thank you, Goldspan Dragon. They could start, like, tapping this down if I can't cast anything during my turn. Ooh, Cloudkin's here. That's a blocker. It will also draw them a card now, and in their end step, another card. We're down to 13 life, though. Make mana. Play Raggadragga. Essence Capture. Okay. Move my commander to the command zone. Yes. And now, let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to play a Voracious Hydra for X equals 3. It's a 3/4. I'm just going to fight this Cloudkin's here. Scooch it out of the way. And swing in with my Goldspan Dragon. Post-combat, we're getting more stuff on the battlefield. Incubation Druid. Boom. There we go. I've got loads of mana. I think we also have lethal next turn. Nice. They had enough mana to tap something down, but if they're doing that, they're not building their board. They're not countering my spells that I'm casting. That's a good win. Yeah, I had fun. This is going to be a tough matchup for me. We're up against Kaya Intangible Slayer, which tends to be a very, very board wipe heavy deck. My deck is mostly creatures, so board wipes, kind of tough for us. Single target removal, also kind of tough for us. Let's go ahead and get out this emergent sequence. I will grab a forest, and that forest will get +2/+2 and have legs. Nice. The Celestis. They are ramping. I have many choices to make here. I'm going to bolt in that Stomping Ground. Or shock it in, sorry. Yep, 2. I'm going to pay a little bit of green. Get out the Goose. Swing in for 3. I want to play as aggressively as I can. Rhythm of the Wild, Domri, these are going to give me more power, more haste. Counters, don't really have to worry about it here. Like, there's one. Oh, rude. Path of Peril. Remember how I said board wipes? There's your first one. I could go for Raggadragga here. I kind of want to set up this haste, though, off Rhythm of the Wild. I'm gonna go for that instead. I also have, Beside You. I don't think I want to use that to turn this into a land, but if they had, like, I don't know, something to tap for 5 mana, say, then I could hit it with the Beside You. Elder Spell. Rude. Okay. There goes Domri. I guess I'll eat this food. Mmm, delicious. I'm not using it for anything, so we'll go ahead and go for it. Beside You. And the Leafkin. We're going to give it haste. Gotta go fast. Hit their face. That's 4 damage. They do have only 1 more mana to go, though, until Kaya. And they'll be able to play Kaya next turn. They'll be able to exile one of my creatures or enchantments and make a copy of it. Oh, hey, Vraska. Vraska could just kill my poor Leafkin. Turn it into a poor little treasure. Well, Vraska, get ready to eat Raggadragga. Wish I could go for your face, but I gotta get rid of this Vraska. Make her gone. Get rid of her. She's out of here. I played this Tangled Florahedron, by the way, as a land. Oh, do you have 5? Yes, they do. They can exile a creature. Like this one. Profane Procession can be used to repeatedly take out your opponent's commander because it doesn't stay under there. But that's fine because it's treasure time. Ol Gnawbones with haste. I'm swinging in. I think I'll play the Raggadragga and hold Drakaseth for next turn. Because I have Drakaseth. I have a way to give Drakaseth haste. And they would need to have 5 mana to get the exile from this. Now, this other spell could be a kill spell. Oh, it's not. It's a key to the archives. Ah, hey, Kaya. You ready to meet my not-so-little friend? His name's Drakaseth. You know, he's kind of a 7/7. And we'll just go ahead and deal 4 damage to your face, too. A little bit of extra, right off the top. We're up against Omnath, Locus of the Royal. Landfall, draw a card, but only when you have 8 or more lands. I'm going to mulligan there because all my cards just kind of cost too much. I have some 3-drops here. I'd rather have cheaper cards, but I think that this is still fine. We have a tap land for turn 1, some good stuff later on, and maybe, just maybe, next turn I'll draw a 2-cost mana-producing creature. Yeah? A little mana dork for Amy? I did not. I got Primal Might, which is a fight spell. Ah, a little Paradise Druid. I wish I had a Paradise Druid last turn, but I didn't. And that's okay. I could go Llanowar Visionary. I could also go Selvala. I'm gonna go for Selvala. They'll be able to play a larger creature and probably draw a card off of Selvala's ability here. Oh, nope, they're just ramping. Yeah, they're gonna hold off on playing Omnath. Omnath, by the way, also enters the battlefield and does some damage. Right now, Paradise Druid and Arcane Signet are the only red sources they have. Kind of notable. Domri. Domri, I would like you to cause problems. Just gonna fight that elf. Now I have 2 mana-producing creatures. And they can ping this for 1 damage. And that's fine. Okay. Raggadragga? Raggadragga. These are now a little bit bigger, which means I have more mana. I would love it if I could have gotten down Ghalta first. I don't have a way to do that. Anyway, here's Ghalta. Would I like to draw a card? I sure would! And you know what I want to use that card draw for? Making Raggadragga fight. Yeah! Raggadragga gets +1/+0. Takes out Omnath. Nice. That's just like, I wanted to make the two commanders fight each other, not because it was smarter than doing that to Galta. So now they're gonna have to remove at least some part of this board, or I'm going to have an obscene amount of mana next turn. Okay, so Genesis Ultimatum, top 5 cards, and those are a land, Lotus Cobra, Nissa, and 2 random cards that I don't know what they were. So they float a mana, they have a Nissa, they can untap lands, they become 3/3s, they can tap Forest for 2. Yes, but I have like 20 plus mana next turn. Not that they even know that. This good friend Beanstalk Giant was going to do a lot for me. That's game. Yarak, the Desecrated. Sultai, enter the battlefield stuff. Alright, let's go. It doubles the enter the battlefield abilities, and it's also a 3/5 with Death Touch and Lifelink. Relevant creature type here is Elemental. It makes Risen Reef trigger twice, which is a really, really fun card. There we go. Sheltered Thicket. And we've got a lot of different ramp that we can do next turn. I will go for Forest and Incubation Druid. I've got creatures that tap for mana. This turns one of my lands into a mana-producing creature. It already produces mana. It's a land, but still very cool to animate them. Do I want to go for Raggadragga? I can make 2 forest creatures here. Kind of like that. This gets me the most little guys on the battlefield, which gives me the most to buff for next turn with Raggadragga. They've got the Dryad. They get to play extra lands each turn, and their lands tap for mana of any color. Yeah, I just want to ramp and then get down Finale. Forceful Cultivator. They don't have any lands in hand. You can tell because they only paid 2 mana. And I got Snow-Covered Swamp. Great. I will play the Karplusan Forest. Wait a minute. I can adapt and then play Raggadragga here. Let's do that. This is going to maximize my mana next turn. Assuming, of course, none of these die. Which, big assumption. But now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. Who costs 10? A little friend of mine named Ulamog, a ceaseless hungry boy who exiles things when it's cast. Even if they kill Raggadragga, by the way, I'll still be able to cast Ulamog. I just won't get that +7/+7 turbo untap, whatever it is. Oh, I'm not blocking. I don't know what you have, but I don't trust like that. If they have, like, 1 more land, I was thinking, like, Massacre Worm? Massacre Worm would be very bad for me. But you know what would be very bad for our opponent? Ulamog. We're going to exile Yarak and the Dryad. We're going to untap our Incubation Druid. And now we have a 10/10 on the battlefield. Oh, also it's indestructible. And our opponent is having none of that. Yeah, that's legit. Gallia of the Endless Dance. Gallia is a Satyrs commander, which is a pretty niche tribe, but it can be very, very fun. It could also just be Gruul Legends, or Gruul Haste, or Going Fast, Hidden Face, because that's what Gallia does. Kind of like Raggadragga. Gallia is a 2-mana 2/2 with Haste, who can also give you card advantage, because when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you can discard a card at random, and if you do, draw 2 cards. It's always like a bit of a gamble, but sometimes it's worth it. Ooh, a Goblin. This Goblin reduces the cost of all of their Gruul spells. Do I want to kill that? Or would I rather do what my deck does? I'd rather do what my deck does, so I'm going to play Llanowar Visionary. Notably, this doesn't discount their commander, because their commander just costs 1 red and 1 green. Ooh, Rhythm of the Wild. I bet they have that in their deck, too. Bag of Holding. This turns discarding into eventual card advantage. Lightning Phoenix! Oh, I actually don't remember what this one does. Oh, if you have bolted your opponent, you can get Lightning Phoenix back. Neat. Okay, I'm down with that. Let's go with Raggadragga. I'm going to attack in. We get +2/+2 and an untap. And now I'm going to take out the Anarchomancer. So we're going to pay X = 0. And we're going to have Raggadragga fight the Goblin. There is no longer a Goblin on the battlefield. Well, except for me, but I'm not counting myself in this equation. Giddy up Gallia. They're drawing and discarding and swinging in for 2. I don't have enough mana here. Let's make more mana. I'm going to use the beans, the Beanstalk Giant, get myself another green source. I'm going to attack in with both of these. Llanowar Visionary will untap. And I have enough to remove Gallia, but I would rather set up for unnecessary violence with Rhythm of the Wild to give my non-token creatures riot. Oh, and an Ember Cleave. That's going to get them an extra, 4 damage there. But they only have 1 mana. Can you do something nasty? Oh, they're destroying my Rhythm of the Wild. Well, that is nasty, but it also gives me 7 mana for next turn, which I don't know how much you have been listening to me rant about the joys of 7 mana. There are many joys of 7 mana. I'm going to cast Thorn Mammoth. I've got to make sure I tap this first, because this costs 7. So I can untap my Llanowar Visionary. And I can swing in with a lot of damage. Perhaps lethal damage. Good game, Gallia. Ashnod, Flesh Mechanist. 1 mana, 1/1, and Death Touch. Also has an ability that lets you exile creatures from your graveyard to make horrible zombies. And can sacrifice other creatures to make Power Stones, but only if you attack. I have a way to kill Ashnod here, so I'm going to keep this hand. Hello, Ashnod. Yes, you're very, very cool. And I will play Mountain, since Mountain lets me cast Lightning Bolt. Mystic Archive frames are so beautiful. Oh, hey, Ashnod. It's nice to see you. Please leave. She's gone. Good. Rootbound Crag, I've got 2 colors now. This is a pain land, so I'd rather not play it right away. Ooh, Doom Dissenter. That is good for sacrificing. Doom Dissenter is like a classic, I die and you actually get a better creature than you had before. I'm here for it. And I'm also here for haste. Rhythm of the Wild is an enchantment that gives my creatures uncounterable and also riot, which means they enter the battlefield either with haste or a +1/+1 counter. Nice. Hello, Ashnod. That means their Mox Amber can now tap for black mana. No, I don't want to attack in. Ashnod has Death Touch, and I feel like Raggadragga is worth more than Ashnod. I don't want to trade, even though I don't have any mana-producing creatures. I do, however, have a way to potentially kill Ashnod and get a little extra on a future turn. I have Minskin Boo. I could make Boo bigger, and maybe throw Boo at Ashnod. Ooh, they now have Power Stone. How powerful. I get a Boo. And I think I can just make Boo bigger and defend Minsk with this. I don't think I need to attack in this turn. Minskin Boo is a very, very strong card. This is actually a pretty recent addition to this deck. I added it in because I felt that this deck needs like a little bit more good stuff to go up against, well, you know, all the Atraxes that are out there. Sometimes you just need that little extra Minsk and Boo. Alright, cool. They have a Nettle Cyst. Do they have enough mana to move it? They do, but that would kill the Germ. Oh no! They scooched it over, and now they have a 5/5. I can just go ahead and sacrifice this, though. Because I get another one. It's actually very silly. Minskin Boo is so good at defending itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Raggadragga. Raggadragga, +1/+1 counter. And I'm actually gonna kill Ashnod. My Raggadragga, I can sacrifice that to block, especially if it's a trade. If they get down another artifact, this will be bigger. And I can let go of Minskin Boo. Argyl's Bloodfast. It's an enchantment. It still buffs this through the Nettle Cyst. Now, what do I rather want? I would rather actually keep Raggadragga right now because of what I have in hand. If I get an untapped mana source... Oh, we can go wild next turn! Rhythm of the Wild. Apparently, according to my chat, Minskin Boo actually got banned in Gladiator recently. That's the other big singleton format in Arena. Okay. This still comes in tapped. That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and get out our Ornithopter of Paradise. And I kind of want to go for a haste because this one flies. And I kind of want to go for haste because they're fun. And I'm going to attack in with all of these. These two get untapped. Oh my gosh, I could use Castle Embers for more damage. Do you block with your kitty cat? I'll discard one of these. As long as I don't have to discard both, I'm happy. Because I can blast that Nettle Cyst with that, or make tons and tons of treasures. Minskin Boo is also banned in 1v1 Commander, or I believe it's called like French Commander or Dual Commander. That's the paper version of the card, though, which costs 1 less mana. Oh no! My other 7-cost creature's gone! How dare you, Nettle Cyst! Alright, so if I do this, it'll be a 5/5. I can give it +1/+1. Not enough. Okay, we just swing in with the Ornithopter. Give it a buff. So rude. So rude. I'm rude. They're rude. We're both rude to each other. Hello, Phyrexian Scrapyard. I didn't even pay attention to what they were discarding for this, but I do like this card. This is another alchemy card that lets you turn whatever you have in your hand into more lands. They're colorless lands, but they can eventually turn into Soul of New Phyrexia, and they're a good way to put creatures in your graveyard if you have a reanimation theme. Foundry Inspector. They're discounting artifacts. I like this. This Ashnod Artifacts build is very cool. On Flesh Gorger. That is now swinging for 10. Or blocking for 10. Maybe both. Cruelty of Vix is going to let them bring out a creature next turn, though, which is kind of what I'm more afraid of. Namely, Old Gnawbones. Or Titan of Industry, but mostly Old Gnawbones. Bad news, I did not get a burn spell there. In fact, I got a whole lot of nothing. This is an 11/11 with, text. You know. Menace, Lifelink, Ward, 11 life. Hi, Titan of Industry. Would you like to get rid of my Ornithopter, my Rhythm of the Wild? Would you like to make a Rhino? Oh no. Alright, so they got rid of my Haste, knowing that Haste is the placed. And they're going to gain 10. Yeah, I really wish I had my Titan of Industry, but you made me discard it. Getting my hand double smacked is not what I wanted for poor Raggadragga. Also, Titan of Industry does have reach, so Ornithopter sadly not swinging through right now. That's a Lair to Hydra. It comes in tapped. This would be really, really great to have if I could attack with it this turn, but I can't. Portal to Phyrexia. Oh, I actually don't have any creatures. That's rough. Well, good game. They're gonna swing in. I'm going to die. But I still think that was I think that was a fun game, and I like that this person has Ashnod artifacts. It's a cool build. Vilis, Broker of Blood. I have an Elvish Mystic in this hand, so it's a good hand. I'm going to keep it. Vilis is a big demon who has a life-paying ability and is a little bit like Grizzlebrand. It's like the rebalanced Grizzlebrand. Speaking of which, Grizzlebrand is actually in Arena right now, so if you are running a lot of demons in your deck or you just want a big creature to reanimate, Grizzlebrand's available. Just a little PSA from me to all of you. Alright, we've got our Elvish Mystic. We're going to get out another little critter here, the Llanowar Loam Speaker. This taps for mana and can also animate lands. Lands, as I mentioned before, as long as they're still able to tap for mana, get Raggadragga's buff. So you can get in more damage using Llanowar Loam Speaker's ability if you need to, you know, attack with something a little bit bigger. Alright, let's swing in for one. Two swamps. Alright, so I've got 5 mana available to me next turn. Definitely winning the race there. Agonizing Remorse. Alright, so they can take out Ulamog, who's a huge mana sink. Devil's Play, who's a kind of boring mana sink. Marwyn's Kindred, which fills up the board. Or they could, you know, just go for that. Yeah, they went for Ulamog, because he's big and scary. I am going to get more elves on this board. I might have 2 elves, but I want 4 elves. So I'm playing Marwyn and one copy of Llanowar Elf. Marwyn's Kindred is an arena-only card. It's kind of cool. It conjures a copy of Marwyn and then makes elves. This way I have lots and lots of mana-generating creatures. I'm leaving myself kind of vulnerable to a board wipe here. Cry to Carnarium would be pretty tricky. It would take out everything but my Loam Speaker. But I have all the mana I could ever want, that I could ever dream of. Not that I'm sure I'd want to use it. I feel like next turn is just Raggadragga and a swing. These will all get +2/+2. They'll be swinging for 3, 4, 5, 6, whoever knows how much damage. A lot. And then I'll have even more damage available post-combat. I have this Devil's Play, which, with Marwyn making more mana, I could use if there's a target for me to hit. They're thinking very hard about what they want to do. My guess is they're killing Marwyn because she's scary. Yep, that's very reasonable. All right, Marwyn's dead. That's a shame. Rhythm of the Wild. I get more damage in just by playing Raggadragga than going Rhythm and Ragga. Rhythm of the Wild, I think, is much more so the kind of thing that I can just play post-combat here. I'm more afraid of needing this if my opponent's playing blue, because it stops counterspells. Stopping counterspells is really, 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 really important. I have learned this the hard way. Ooh, Roadside Reliquary. Nice. You can get them cards. Elderfang Disciple. No! There goes my Devil's Play. It's in the graveyard. It does have flashback, so I can still cast it one more time. But I can't actually cast it because I only have 1, 2... red mana, and I would need 3. Oh, but I can cast this. I get more damage in if I cast this first. Since we get Raggadragga's buff, I will untap the Loam Speaker. Since it's the hardest to kill. Okay, well, they can kill it anyway. That's fine. I don't get the +7/+7, but you know what I do get? A hasty Titan of Industry. Let's go ahead and go for a shield and a Rhino. I'm going to shield the Titan since it's absolutely massive. If they want to get rid of that shield, they can just, like, jump block here. That's fine. The jump block will prevent all of 1 damage. Alright, so they're blocking Raggadragga instead. They're down to 9 life. And if they hadn't done that, I think we would have had lethal. Yeah, because this would have had an additional, like, 9+ trampling damage. Would have been 10 trampling damage. Ooh, Sign in Blood. They're losing life. They might have played removal. Removal, 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 hand removal. I mean, this is also hand removal. A little bit of card draw, but right now, we've got damage. We've got damage coming from any side, too. We've got, this Devil's Play is like an eventual. We get a little bit more red, we burn you. We light you on fire very, 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 very nicely. Can they get out of this? They're playing a Signet. I don't think they can get out of this. Nope. All right. We swing in, and we win. Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, if you'd like to watch me record Brawl Stars live, maybe make suggestions for what decks to play, or just hang out and be cool with the rest of them, you should come over to twitch.tv/Amazonian, where I stream Magic the Gathering almost every single day. I am going to be doing lots of cube drafting this week. I'll probably put a couple of those drafts up on YouTube, but I know it doesn't make the best recorded content, so you should definitely come over and check it out live. Again, that's twitch.tv/Amazonian. I hope to see you there.